In the infinite hush of the cosmos, where stars whisper secrets across eons and the fabric of reality stretches thin against the unknown, even the faintest flicker can shatter our fragile illusions of certainty. Just 2 nights ago, on November 15th, 2025, as the world slumbered under a canopy of indifferent skies, a cataclysmic event rippled through the halls of every premier observatory from Mauna Kea to the Atacama Desert. The interstellar wanderer designated 3I/ATLAS, our solar system's third confirmed visitor from beyond its gravitational embrace, didn't merely brighten, it erupted in a blaze of defiance against the laws we hold sacred. In a mere 6 minutes, its luminosity surged by a factor of 4, a photon storm so abrupt and razor-sharp that backyard stargazers from the fjords of Norway to the outback of Australia captured it in unison, their modest lenses etching the impossible into digital eternity. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter guzzled precious hydrazine propellant to swivel its gaze, while the venerable Deep Space Network, custodian of whispers from Voyager and the Red Planet's rovers, halted mid-transmission, its colossal 70-meter dishes pivoting like sentinels roused from slumber. The International Astronomical Union, IAU, that august body of celestial cartographers, convened an emergency conclave, the first since the 2023 close shave with asteroid 2023 BU data that flowed like a digital river mere hours before now trickled to a halt, as if the universe itself had pressed pause. This wasn't the predictable tantrum of a comet shedding its icy shroud. It was a symphony of the inexplicable, unfolding in real time, daring us to comprehend. And as telescopes worldwide locked onto its trajectory, one chilling truth emerged. 3I/ATLAS wasn't just passing through, it was announcing its presence. The saga of this cosmic interloper began not with fanfare, but with the quiet vigilance of those who chase shadows in the night sky. Picture a crisp autumn evening in a quaint Bavarian village near Munich, Germany, where amateur astronomer Lena Muller, much like her fictional counterpart Maria Schultz, peered through the eyepiece of her trusty 12-inch Dobsonian reflector. It was July 1st, 2025, when the Atlas survey in Chile first flagged the anomaly. But for Muller, the real drama ignited on November 14th. Her custom astrometry software, honed over years of comet hunting, chirped an alert. A vertical spike in brightness, leaping 1.4 magnitudes in the blink of an eye, holding steady for those fateful 6 minutes before easing back. At first, doubt crept in, like it does for all of us when the extraordinary knocks. Was it a faulty CCD sensor? A rogue satellite flare? She cross-checked against her calibration stars, the crisp profiles of Arcturus and Vega, and consulted real-time atmospheric feeds from the European Space Agency's ALICE satellite Impeccable. No turbulence, no glitches. Within half an hour, the virtual cosmos ignited. Posts flooded Reddit's r/astronomy and the Cloudy Nights forums from Kiwi observers in Wellington, desert rats in Arizona's Kitt Peak, and equatorial watchers in Brazil's Pico dos Dias. Screenshots of light curves stacked like evidence in a cosmic courtroom. Flat baselines erupting into plateaus, devoid of the sinusoidal waltz of rotation or the gradual swell of outgassing. This defied every textbook. For context, recall Comet 17P/Holmes in 2007, the million billion fireworks, which ballooned in brightness over 2 full days, a leisurely unfurling compared to 3I/Atlas's sprint, less than 1% of that time frame. Or closer to home in 2025, the erratic outbursts of Comet C/2025 K1 Atlas, a solar system native that fragmented spectacularly after perihelion on October 8th, its pieces scattering like shattered glass under Hubble's watchful eye. But 3I/ATLAS, its flare was surgical, a heartbeat in the void, hinting at mechanisms buried deep in alien chemistry. By the witching hour of November 15th, number 3I anomaly had clawed its way to the top of global trends, a digital wildfire leaping from Twitter's algorithmic pyre to TikTok's viral undercurrents. Billions of eyes, amateur and expert alike, fixed on the same riddle. What force could orchestrate such a pristine, instantaneous illumination? The contagion spread like gravitational waves. Discord servers for the American Association of Variable Star Observers buzzed with time-stamped exposures, while Zooniverse's citizen science hubs, like the Skywatch Collective, mobilized thousands to validate the spike across hemispheres. No fabrication, no mass delusion. The data harmonized down to the millisecond. As dawn gilded Europe's spires, the pros descended. The Pan-STARRS 1 and Atlas arrays in Hawaii and Chile ratified the event. Their robotic sentinels churning out gigabytes of spectral fingerprints. Japan's Subaru telescope and the robotic fleets at Siding Spring in Australia joined the fray, piping feeds into a burgeoning open-access vault on GitHub, a testament to humanity's unquenchable thirst. Yet amid this symphony of shared wonder, a subtle dissonance emerged. Whispers in private Slack channels. Hold the uploads, IIU directive. The fervor, so electric, began to hum with undercurrents of restraint. What followed was a masterclass in global astronomy's rarest art. Unity in the face of the unfathomable. The Deep Space Network's trio of behemoths, Goldstone, Madrid, Canberra, abruptly orphaned ongoing dialogues with Perseverance rover on Mars, and the fading echoes of Voyager 1, now 24 billion kilometers distant. Engineers, in a unanimous vote that echoed through JPL's corridors, sacrificed 22 hours of irreplaceable telemetry for radar pings off 3I/ATLAS's hyperbolic path. This wasn't protocol for a mere light show. Such overrides were relics of doomsday drills, like the 2022 Dimorphos deflection or the 2019 Apophis scare no extinction level threat loomed. 3I/ATLAS's closest Earth approach peaked at a safe 1.8 astronomical units in September, but the stakes felt existential. Telescopes the world over realigned. Chile's Very Large Telescope Array, Hawaii's Gemini North, even China's FAST, the world's largest single-dish radio ear, abandoned hunts for pulsars and protostars. The IAU's ballot tallied 8-2 for a planetary-scale vigilance protocol, a phrase dusted off from Cold War-era asteroid watches. For 48 breathless hours, Earth's observational arsenal, spanning infrared from Spitzer's successors to gamma-ray nets on Fermi, trained on this singleton from the stars' data deluge servers. Light curves etched in exquisite detail, spectra blooming with unfamiliar lines. Then, as abruptly as a curtain drop, the chorus fell mute. Social feeds from verified handles at NASAASTRO, at ESA_operations, went dark. Preprint ARXIV upload stalled. A 70% plunge in astronomer chatter, per sentiment trackers from MIT's Media Lab, painted a portrait of orchestrated hush. Automated drips persisted, though. Radar echoes betraying non-gravitational thrusts, fourfold the norm. Infrared plateaus spiking 30 Kelvin hotter than models predicted, and ephemeral gamma flickers pinpointed to 3I/ATLAS's locus. Real? Undeniably sensible? Not in this universe. In the span of 48 hours, the flicker had metastasized into a labyrinthine enigma, ensnaring minds from Pasadena to puny Mars-orbiting sentinels, like ESA's ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter, which had refined 3I/ATLAS's trajectory by a factor of 10 during its October 3rd flyby at 29 million kilometers. Now corroborated the thermal excess from a far ground, arrays logged anomalous accelerations, while deep space antennas snared rhythmic echoes, pulsing at intervals, defying orbital mechanics. But the true specter lurked not in the numbers, but in the void they carved. Veterans of comet chases, those who'd mapped Borisov's cyanide-laced coma in 2019, or unraveled Oumuamua's cigar-shaped tumble in 2017, shunned spotlights, observatories invoked, verification protocols, their gates metaphorically bolted. A pilfered IAU memo splashed across the Astrophysical Journal letters leak channels, branded it a synchronized multispectral perturbation mandating containment. No elaboration, no solace, just a mandate for perpetual vigil. For the first epoch in contemporary annals, every lens on the planet converged on one extraterrestrial artifact. 3I/ATLAS, this rogue from a star system billions of years and light years sundered, compelled us to interrogate the boundary between the mundane and the miraculous. Was it a relic of primordial chaos, or a harbinger scripted by intelligences we dare not name? As November's chill deepened, the question hung heavier than any nebula. The pivot came from the heaven's sharpest eye. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, perched at L2 like a vigilant oracle. On August 6, 2025, JWST's near-infrared spectrograph pierced the veil, unveiling a secondary silhouette, a diminutive, frigid companion, locked in eerie tandem with 3I/ATLAS's core. Initial scans dismissed it as detritus, a splinter from sublimating ices. But iterative differential imaging, stacking exposures like forensic overlays, revealed the truth. A fixed 120-kilometer separation, a duet in flawless synchrony. No drift, no chaos. This was orbital ballet, gravitationally improbable for natural ejecta. The IAU's encrypted channels erupted, echoes of Oumuamua's 2017 debates when Harvard's Avi Loeb first posited artificial sails. Yet 3I/ATLAS's companion bore stranger marks, albedo near zero, sunlight rebuffed like a cloaked vessel, yet leaking microwave whispers of regulated thermals, active venting, not passive decay. The nomenclature shifted overnight, from C/2025N1 Atlas to 3I/Atlas Complex. Complex wasn't casual lexicon. It was code for multiplicity, for architecture transcending inert rock. JWST's mid-infrared gaze, corroborated by SphereX August 7th to 15th sweeps, decoded the coma. Carbon dioxide dominance laced with water vapor, carbon monoxide, carbonyl sulfide, and pristine water ice. Pristine, as if frozen since the galaxy's infancy. Estimates peg the nucleus at 440 meters to 5.6 kilometers across, hurtling at 221,000 kilometers per hour. Its reddish dust akin to D-type asteroids but irradiated with tholins, organic ghosts from a forgotten stellar nursery. Meerkat's November 12th radio coup clinched it. Hydroxyl radicals screaming, "Water activity," a natural comet's autograph, quelling Loeb's probe theories. Yet the complex lingered, a riddle in plain sight, as if 3I/TLAS carried not just ices, but echoes of design. The crescendo crashed on November 10th, as 3I/ATLAS crested nodal alignment, its hyperbolic plane kissing Earth's ecliptic like forbidden lovers. At 4:47 UTC, the alignment of assets registered apocalypse in miniature. Intensity ballooning, the companion igniting in sympathy, a diaphanous halo blooming visible to 8-inch amateurs from Arizona to the Alps. Not solar reflection, this was endogenous glow, luminescence birthed from the object's bowels. JWST's diffraction spikes traced geometric facets, not the ragged fringe of rubble spectrograms charted a 60 Kelvin plunge. Energy rerouted inward like a machine spooling up. Then the zenith, a 12-second radio lance, collimated and earthbound, lancing through 300 million kilometers of vacuum, no cosmic static. This was modulated harmony, frequencies weaving patterns alien to quasars or pulsars. Silence reclaimed it swiftly, the halo fading, pulses stilled. But in observatories from Sutherland to Mauna Kea, one query reverberated. To whom was this broadcast addressed? As 3I/ATLAS receded, re-emerging faintly in Virgo's pre-dawn glow on November 11th, magnitude 12, a whisper for large scopes. The halo's after-image burned. Had we been hailed or appraised? The interregnum stretched into days of fevered dissection, the 12-second salvo dissected by arrays from Australia's Square Kilometre Array, SKA, precursor to Arecibo's spiritual heirs' expectations. Noise, perhaps solar wind static. Reality? a scaffold of harmonics anchored to a 247-second cadence, a metronome that had teased astronomers since July's prediscovery, ZTF frames nested within. Ratios mirroring hydrogen's hyperfine line, the 1420 megahertz clarion any radio-savvy species would tune. The universe's lingua franca, rendered as spectrogram, it bloomed, hexagons spiraling from a luminous nexus, a fractal twin to JWST's, final portraits of the complex in lockstep, not message, but schema. Extrapolated to 3D, it mirrored solar resonances, Jupiter's 5-2 with Saturn, Venus's 13-8, yet centered on void, a null point now occupied by 3I/ATLAS itself. Coincidence, cried the skeptics, pattern-seeking primates projecting onto chaos. But Avi Loeb, in his September Archive preprint, framed it as attunement, a calibration ping, syncing the intruder to our barycentric dance, akin to a violinist rosining strings preconcerto. If so, the beam was prelude, the true opus pending. Ripples lapped closer to home. Post-beam, Earth's magnetosphere quivered. 12 seconds delayed, ionosphere resonating at Schumann's 7.83 hertz plus a 0.02 hertz tremor, as if stroked by invisible fingers. Dismissed publicly as coronal mass ejections or instrumental ghosts, it fueled classified briefs. The International Asteroid Warning Network's Project Helios, birthed in 2022's NDAA, posited reciprocity. Our inadvertent radar cacophony, thousands of telescopes, comms towers, Starlink constellations, had pinged the complex weeks prior, eliciting not flare, but retort. 3I/ATLAS hadn't illuminated, it had mirrored. Now quiescence. No jets like C/2025K, one's fiery dissolution. No gamma aftershocks. It ghosts beyond Mars, a sentinel in the outer dark, data vaults sealed under national security veils amid U.S. government flux. The world pivots to terrestrial tumults, but for the cadre who first clocked that 247-second throb, vigilance endures. What if resumption brings not photons but perturbations? Gravitic tugs, plasma wakes? What if 3I/ATLAS isn't tourist but tuner, harmonizing our system to some grander score? This isn't mere astronomy. It's the precipice of paradigm shift from Oumuamua's defiant tumble to Borisov's organic bouquet. Interstellar envoys have upended our isolation. 3I/ATLAS, with its CO2 shroud and hexagonal hymns, whispers of nurseries where suns birthed worlds we can scarcely dream. Yet in its reticence, it evokes unease. Are we observed as we observe? As November's nights lengthen, dust off your scopes. Virgo awaits, faint but fervent. The next cadence may herald revelation or requiem. Don't avert your gaze, the stars demand witnesses. If this odyssey has ignited that primal spark, the awe of the abyss, the thrill of the threshold, linger with us, hit subscribe. We're the unfiltered lens on the veiled. Bell on for when the rhythm reprises, and mark my words, it will, you'll claim your front row seat to the symphony. What secrets does 3I/ATLAS guard? Join the watch. The void replies, but only to those who listen.